Hola muchachos! Okay, today's lesson is actually going to be our final lesson on the subjunctive. We've been doing it a while, so let's start with a little bit of review. Recap, repaso. Okay, number one. Oh, also, please make sure that you're filling in anything that I've highlighted in yellow in your note sheet. Number one. In order to use the subjunctive, there must be two different subjects and a K. Number two. If there is no K in the sentence, or there's only one subject, then we must use the infinitive. I think there's a typo in your note packet, so please make sure that that reads the infinitive. 3. If a verb expresses certainty or truth in verb 1, then we must use the indicative in verb 2. Indicative is regular old present tense. Number 4. The expression weirdo is used to help us remember the verbs that trigger the subjunctive in verb 1. In the last two chapters, we covered wants from the W, impersonal expressions from the I, and requests from the R. We may have touched on ojalá or maybe not, but it's very easy and I'm going to give you some notes on it today. So now, let's learn about the other two letters of weirdo. Okay. So we have E, emotions, and then we have D, which stands for doubt or denial. The rules are exactly the same. So we still use S1V1K, S2V2. Verb 1 is the indicative, regular present. Verb 2 is in the subjunctive. Okay. So let's look at a very complete list now of all of the weirdo verbs that trigger subjunctive. I identified the ones that we've already covered with the word repaso. Wishes, wants, and desires, W. Querer, to want. Desear, to desire. Esperar, to hope. Preferir, to prefer. Let's look at some examples. Mi hermano desea que yo llegue a tiempo. La profesora espera que estudiemos esta noche. Mi madre quiere que mi padre cocine la cena. Okay, here we have a brand new topic, emotion, an exclamation. Alegrarse, to be happy. Estar plus any adjective feeling, which is to be and then that emotion. Sentir, to feel and to regret. Tener miedo, to be afraid. And sorprenderse, to be surprised. Here's some examples. Estoy contenta que vengan mis amigos. Siento mal que los hombres trabajen tanto. Me sorprende que ellos jueguen al baloncesto. Tengo miedo de que haya un examen hoy en la clase de español. Hopefully that one's never true for you guys. You're never afraid of Spanish quizzes and tests, right? Okay. Impersonal expressions. We already did this, so this is the repaso. It's necessary. Es necesario. Es posible, it's possible. Es probable, it's probable. Es importante, it's important. Es dudoso, it's doubtful. What are our examples? Es posible que lleguemos tarde. Es dudoso que ellos hagan la tarea. Es importante que la animadora venga al partido. Some other words you should recognize as triggers. You don't have to know these for sure, but if you do see them, hopefully you could figure out they take subjunctive. Es imposible, it's impossible. Es lástima, it's a shame. Es mejor, it's best. No parece, it doesn't seem. Okay, now let's go on to the R's. We also already covered this. This is for another repaso. Requests, demands, asking, and commanding. Mandar, to command. Exigir, to demand. Rogar, to beg. Decir, to tell. Se permite, it's allowed, you're allowed. Recomendar, to recommend. Aconsejar, to advise. Sugerir, to suggest. Here's some examples. Mamá dice que limpies tu cuarto antes de salir esta noche. El cirujano general sugiere que no fume. Oops, sorry, that's, yep. No, sugiere, that's a typo. Please fix that. Okay, so from this section, we really only covered sugerir, but you got the general idea in the last chapter about requests and suggestions. Another one you could recognize is dejar, which is to allow. Okay, let's look at a new section now, which is doubt, disbelief, and denial. Okay, so we got to memorize these trigger expressions. Dudar, to doubt. No creer, to not believe. No pensar, to not think. Tal vez, maybe. Quizás, maybe. Negar, to deny. Prohibir, to prohibit. No permitir, to not permit or not allow. No dejar, to not allow. What are examples? Ella no piensa que ellos tengan el libro. Nosotros dudamos que la película empiece a las 9. ¿Crees que ganen? Tal vez él venga el miércoles. Now, look at this one closely. Tal vez and quizás are unique in that they don't require a K, and they still take subjunctive. Okay. Here's some others. Pensar within a question and creer within a question also triggers subjunctive. And the O from WEIRDO is ojalá. I love this one. It's very, very easy. Okay? Ojalá is special because, number one, it can be used with or without a K, and it still has the same meaning. Two, it comes from the language of Arabic. It has many meanings. It could be God willing, hopefully, or I hope. Number three, it never changes with different subjects. It will just always be ojalá. Number four, it can be used as a response to something that seems far off and almost impossible. For example, Sarah says, Esperaba ganar la lotería. I was hoping to win the lottery. And I would respond by saying, ojalá. Like, yeah, right, you wish. So look at some examples. Ojalá que no haya escuela mañana. Hopefully we don't have school tomorrow. Ojalá mi abuela se recupere. God willing, my grandmother will get better soon. Ojalá que el examen sea muy fácil porque no estudié. I hope the test is easy because I didn't study. Okay. Now, we did a little bit of this in the last chapter as well, but now we're doing it very comprehensively. Okay? There are some words and triggers we have to memorize that never, ever, ever trigger subjunctive because they trigger the indicative, which is the regular old present tense. So creer that stands alone and pensar that stands alone. There's no question marks. There's no in front. These are going to just be indicative triggers to believe and to think. Es verdad. It's true. Es cierto. It's true. Es evidente. It's true or it's evident. Es claro. It's clear. Estar seguro. To be sure. No hay duda. There's no doubt. No cabe duda. There's absolutely no doubt. No es dudoso. It's not doubtful. Now let's look at our examples. Pienso que el concierto empieza a las 8. I think that the concert starts at 8. Es verdad que el oso pardo está en peligro de desaparecer. It's true that the brown bear is endangered. Now, whether people believe or disbelieve things has little connection with whether they are true or not. In Spanish, when a sentence is introduced with a verb that demonstrates a belief in something, the second verb will be expressed in the indicative, regular present. In a sentence that's introduced with a verb that demonstrates disbelief in something, then you'll use subjunctive in the second verb. Okay, that's all for now. Adios.